On June 12th, Air India Flight 171, a brand new, state-of-the-art Boeing 787 Dreamliner, took off from Ahmedabad heading for London. But just moments after its wheels left the runway, the unimaginable happened. The plane crashed, killing all 260 people on board and another 19 on the ground. It was a complete catastrophic failure of a modern airliner. And the investigation? Well, it would uncover a mystery that we're still talking about today. And it all began in the flight's final 32 seconds.
Just look at how fast this all unfolds. I mean, it's breathtakingly quick. We have a normal liftoff at 8:08 and 39 seconds. Just 3 seconds later, they're at peak speed. But then, just 1 second after that, both engines are suddenly starved of fuel. The pilots obviously react immediately, trying to restart them. A desperate mayday call goes out. And then, just 32 seconds after leaving the ground, the flight data recorder goes silent. A routine flight turned into a national tragedy in less time than it takes to tie your shoes.
So, yeah, that's the big question, right? How does something like this even happen? The official investigation, they quickly ruled out all the usual suspects: bad weather, bird strikes, any obvious engine defects. Instead, the preliminary report from India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, the AAIB, it pointed to a single, really bizarre clue that honestly created way more questions than answers.
The entire investigation, it would all come down to two very specific levers in the cockpit.
Okay, so these are the fuel cutoff switches. The easiest way to think of them is like the ignition key for a massive jet engine. When they're in the run position, fuel is flowing, everything's good, you flip them to cutoff, and it stops instantly. Now, what's absolutely crucial to understand here is that these switches are not used in routine flight. They're protected by guards to stop anyone from moving them by accident. Using them unintentionally would be like turning your car key to the off position while you're merging onto the highway. You just don't do it.
And this right here, this is the bombshell from the report. The data showed the switches moved from run to cutoff, but here's the kicker. They moved sequentially, one and then the other, with a 1-second gap. This wasn't some simultaneous electrical glitch. This data screams that it was a deliberate physical action. But by who and why?
So the flight data recorder told us what happened, but it was the cockpit voice recorder that gave us this haunting glimpse into how it happened. Just imagine hearing this from the recording. Why did you cut off? That was the question captured on the CVR. It's a moment of just stunning realization and, accusation in the cockpit as one pilot confronts the other. And the immediate reply? I did not do so. A flat denial. So in the last desperate seconds of Flight 171, the two people in control of this massive airplane are in direct conflict, with absolutely no clear explanation for the disaster that's unfolding around them.
So with this baffling exchange happening in the cockpit, investigators and, the public were left with no easy answers at all. Instead, three very distinct and competing theories emerged to try and explain what happened.
All right, let's break these down. First, you've got the theory of a deliberate act. The evidence for that is the sequential timing, right? But then, on the other hand, you have the pilot's flawless 25-year record. It just doesn't add up. Okay, so theory 2, a tragic accident. Maybe some kind of muscle memory slip-up where he meant to move a different switch. But again, for a pilot this experienced, that's an incredibly improbable error. And finally, you have mechanical failure. Turns out an FAA advisory had actually warned about a potential flaw in these switches. The problem? The inspection was non-mandatory and the airline hadn't done it. So we're left with 3 plausible paths, and none of them lead to a definitive answer.
Now, amid all this speculation and confusion, one voice rose up to defend the pilot at the very heart of the storm. The 91-year-old father of Captain Sumit Sabharwal, who wrote this incredibly powerful letter to investigators, demanding they protect his son's reputation. In his letter, Pushkaraj Sabharwal just systematically dismantled all the rumors that were flying around about his son's mental state. He pointed out, look, the divorce was 15 years ago, his mother's passing was over 3 years before this, and he flew more than 100 flights perfectly fine after that. He paints this picture of a stable, professional pilot with a spotless 25-year career, not some guy on the edge. And the foundation for that defense, it really comes down to this number, over 15,000 hours of flying time. I mean, to put that into perspective, more than 8,500 of those hours were in command of this exact type of aircraft. This isn't just a statistic, it's a testament to a lifetime of experience and dedication. His father's plea, it really goes beyond just defending his son. It's this powerful statement about dignity and the very human cost of a public investigation. He's arguing that the leaks and the speculation are actually violating his son's fundamental rights, even after his death.
So, as if the mystery itself wasn't complex enough, a very modern kind of crisis erupted online, blurring the lines between what was real and what was fake, and just compounding the tragedy for all the families involved.
You see, the delay in the official investigation, it created this information vacuum. And into that void stepped generative AI. Bad faith actors just started churning out these fake, dramatic, and completely false images and videos of the crash, and they spread like wildfire all over social media. And this content was, well, it was disturbingly convincing. We're talking about photorealistic images and videos that were so well made that they apparently confused even some aviation professionals. This led to this massive public misunderstanding of what actually happened. And the impact here goes way beyond just some harmless online chatter. This misinformation campaign actively harmed the investigation by amplifying all these false theories. It cruelly exploited the grief of the victims' families, and it sowed distrust and confusion at a time when clarity was what was needed most. And that's where this all leaves us. We have a mystery in the cockpit that we may never fully solve, and it's compounded by this digital fog of misinformation. It forces all of us to ask a really difficult question for our time. When a tragedy is clouded by both human doubt and digital deception, how do we ever find our way back to the truth?